we are literally climbing a mountain to start a juniper farm. And that's not the crazy bit. Okay, let me explain here. So, juniper berries are a wildly popular flavoring agent, most frequently used as the main flavor in gin. But they're also used in other alcoholic products like aperitifs or vermouth. They're used as a meat seasoning or in cosmetics. But for us, we use a ton of it in our vermouth and in other products. What makes juniper harvest itself so unique to most kind of farmed things or even other botanicals is that they are almost exclusively the world over wild harvested, and it's a native species here where we live in British Columbia. Despite them growing wild here, nearly all juniper used in Canada is imported, predominantly from Bulgaria and the Balkans. So we're going to try and, well, not wild harvest it, because we're on Vancouver Island and they're very kind of limited access. We're going to try and start a juniper farm ourselves.
Juniper, we found it. Starting a farm.
But in order to actually start this farm, we weren't able to actually go out and purchase seeds, cuttings, or potted plants because, well, juniper isn't a farmed thing and they don't really exist in that format. To solve this, we partnered with local master foragers Ben and Celia of Forest for Dinner, who led us to a really good spot for wild harvest to be able to collect our own seed for cultivation and planting.
So you can see how harvesting these is going to be a pain though. I was watching some videos and once they get a little older, a little more bigger and bushy, sticking like a wide kind of...
Have you seen the
Counter-
old lady in Sicily?
Yeah, and they're just whacking
Yeah.
it with a stick and they're...
I tried everything.
Yeah.
I tried all the techniques I've seen on YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. But I found out that the best option is to go with really heavy gloves.
Yeah.
Because the problem when you beat them up, you're gonna get like, the grain are better attached.
But
you
you're
get
killing
more,
next year's
yeah,
harvest.
and you're getting, I mean, you're still gonna get some the way I do.
Yeah.
But so usually the blue gonna be here.
Yeah.
And like those one are the next
All
year,
the
and
new
then next
stuff.
year you're gonna have there. So I go with my gloves and put like a bucket underneath and brush just that part here.
Oh, neat.
So
yeah.
of course I have a few green ones from here, but I don't have those ones.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, whereas if you're hitting it with a stick, you're getting all of it.
I mean, the greens are more attached, so they
Yeah.
don't fall as much, but you still get like a higher percentage.
Yeah, and I guess if you're in Bulgaria and harvesting wild, and there's like acres and acres and
you
acres
don't
of
care.
juniper, it doesn't matter. But when this is our only patch,
that's a problem.
oh yeah, look at these, beautiful.
I'm glad we found some.
Wild picking wild juniper on top of a mountain. Pretty cool. A little foggy today though. But we found a really lovely patch that's got a similar elevation and climate to where we want to plant. And the key is to find as wide of a variety, genetic diversity for starting a new population. So we're trying to pick berries from as many different bushes as we can, but you can see it's all low-lying juniper, and you got some more bushier ones. You want is diversity, diversity, diversity.
And once we were done picking, it was time to climb back down and start the process of extracting the seeds from these berries.
We're at my parents' house, and this is the result of some of our juniper harvest. What we need to do now is get the seeds out. We had two different areas, one on Pub Mountain and one on the beach. You can see here, these are some of the berries that we've collected. These ones are nice and juicy. What we need to do now is remove the seeds from the pulp and the bits and the material. The processes that I was reading was you basically had to put a bunch of water in a blender and
run these berries, and that would get out, remove most of the pulp from the seeds. But the problem, obviously, with a blender is, yeah, you get some good seeds, but it's also going to shred a bunch of them. And
Especially if you have an actual good blender.
yeah, exactly. And I think that would be a fine method if you had a substantial volume of berries, but we don't have a lot. So what I came up with was getting a baking sheet with a silicone mat, and we've got this nice heavy marble dough roller thing, whatever these are
Very
called.
fancy. A rolling pin?
Rolling pin. Simple words. Ooh, and all of a sudden it starts smelling like gin. Because basically what I want to do is smush all this as much as I can and then put it in a jug of water. And what will happen is a good amount, not all, but a good amount of this pulp will float, and also any non-viable empty seeds will float to the top.
This is a seed, so you can see right here, right there is a juniper seed. This, that little guy.
Put in the water, see if it floats.
So now that I've squashed them all, so the blender, whisk it. Again, just to try and dislodge the seed from the pulp. Germinating juniper seed is an incredibly time-consuming and complicated process where your germination rate, not only is the amount of viable seed you get out of this really, really low, but also even your germination rate. Again, these are wild seeds. This is not, cultivated and bred for easy farming. So what you have to do is, once you get all of your viable seeds and separate them out, then you soak the seeds in a 1% citric acid solution. It was determined that juniper, by and large, is in the wild transmitted not by wind or not by really anything but birds. And that 1% citric acid solution that you soak the seeds in for 4 days will mimic the stomach acid of a bird. They then have to go through a chilling period, so you refrigerate them for 30 weeks. Then once refrigeration, stick them in seed trays, and it will take up to 12 months before they even start poking their heads out of the dirt. Then they're in seed trays for 2 to 3 years. Then you finally plant them, but once you plant them, you're now at risk of bunnies and deer coming in and eating them. So, and you also...
So what's the survival rate? Better or worse than baby turtles hatching on the beach?
Worse. I don't know what their survival rate is. So you can see in here, after whisking it, all of that chaff and a lot of the seeds is it's floating on the top, and I'm just skimming off all this material.
All the floating bits.
This is the gold here. And thus begins the slow, tedious process of sifting out all of these seeds, where I push a clump over like that, and then you can kind of just start rolling it. Oh, see, there's a little seed right there. There's another one. Pick up the little itty bitty seeds. Feel the seeds, and I can also, by rolling it, separate them from the pulp.
Hello.
We've done it. So my timing estimates I kind of nailed. That was almost 45 minutes on the dot to do that lot. You can see now the pile has been moved to the front, meaning I have sifted through it, and that's what I got. Considering you saw the pile of berries that I took out from the start, how many there were, and how many there are 3 seeds per berry, and that is all that I got. I'm now going to do another float test, and I'll probably get half a third of that will actually
Float.
float, and yeah, or a half or a third of it will be plantable, which is why we need to collect a lot, because I'm going to do this over a few times.
Float test. We'll do a little foaming of citric acid mix, I think.
Juniper.
Juniper.